It may surprise you to hear that improper food reheating can subtly impair your health, particularly as you age. Unbeknownst to you, it can impair digestion, raise inflammation, and even have an impact on your memory and equilibrium. Studies on the long-term effects of specific reheated foods on elders have been published in journals such as the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, supporting these hazards. Reheating leftovers may appear harmless at first, but when you do so, several typical foods lose their nutrients or become compounds that silently strain your heart, blood sugar, or joints, systems that are essential for maintaining your strength and independence after the age of 65. This article explains which foods seniors should never reheat, and which ones, when properly warmed, actually become healthier. And if you stick with me through to the finish, I'll tell you about one common meal that can be steadily harming your health with each serving. Let's start by talking about the foods you should be reheating because, when prepared properly, they can improve your daily mobility, energy, and memory. Before we begin, I advise you to click the button and activate the bell if you haven't already, so you don't miss any further personalized health advice. Type 1 in the comments if you like this video. If not, input 0 to tell me how I can improve your material. To get the most nutrients, seniors should reheat these 3 items. First, oatmeal. A cozy hug for the tummy and the mind. Mornings frequently have a silent power for seniors approaching their golden years, a chance to start again slowly and deliberately. A cup of warm oats is one of the foods that best embodies that spirit. However, many people are unaware that warming up oatmeal might actually increase its advantages rather than diminish them, particularly for aging bodies that need food without stress. A unique metamorphosis takes place when oats are cooked and then chilled. The starches start to undergo structural changes, creating a kind of carbohydrate known as resistant starch that is difficult for the small intestine to digest. These resistant starches stay intact when reheated and continue to nourish the beneficial bacteria in the gut, strengthening digestion, enhancing blood sugar regulation, and reducing inflammation all over the body. This goes beyond science. For people over 65, it is really useful. Blood sugar levels grow increasingly erratic, and digestion frequently slows down as we age. Reheated oatmeal provides a consistent, low glycemic energy source that stabilizes mood and focus and keeps you fuller for longer by releasing energy gradually rather than abruptly. However, the advantages are more profound. Beta-glucan, a soluble fiber found in oatmeal, is known to lower LDL, or bad cholesterol, therefore promoting heart health. This small daily routine turns into a silent act of prevention for elderly people who are at risk for cardiovascular problems. Additionally, oatmeal is naturally mild, easy on the stomach, and infinitely adaptable, in contrast to many breakfast options that are filled with additional sweets or saturated fats. In addition to enhancing the flavor, adding fresh blueberries, chopped walnuts, or a dash of cinnamon also introduces potent antioxidants, which are the body's natural defenses against aging cells. In more sentimental ways, the warmth of reheated oats also provides consolation. It is recognizable, simple to understand, and anchoring metaphorically. It's more than just food on chilly mornings or when you're feeling drained. It's a nurturing reminder that even little routines may create a healthier day and a healthier life, and it's a kind gesture of self-respect. However, most people don't think about this. Not many warm meals provide such rewards, but oatmeal fortifies from the inside out. Some may seem comforting, but when reheated, they can become subtly hazardous, causing problems beyond digestion. They may have an impact on your long-term vitality, joints, and nerves. What is the best food to reheat next? One that, with each mouthful, rebuilds your bones and strengthens your immune system? It's possible that the solution is already simmering in your refrigerator, just waiting to be transformed into something meaningful and restorative. Please let me know in the first remark below if you're still watching and finding these insights useful. Let's now discuss point number 2. 2. Vegetable soup. A mild remedy for the soul, joints, and immunity. A warm bowl of vegetable soup has a deeply restorative effect during the peaceful late afternoon hours when the body starts to feel the weight of the years and the light softens through the windows. Comfort food isn't the only kind. It is the wisdom of the ancestors poured into a bowl. Furthermore, reheating vegetable soup is more than just a practical option for elderly people, particularly those negotiating the intricacies of aging bodies. It's a process of replenishing vital nutrients that gradually gain strength and richness. A handmade vegetable soup gets more nutrient-dense the next day, in contrast to many processed meals. Why? Because the cell walls of robust vegetables, such as sweet potatoes, carrots, celery, onions, and leafy greens, start to decompose when they are boiled gently and then allowed to rest, releasing minerals and plant compounds that weren't entirely available during the first cooking process. The soup becomes a concentrated source of antioxidants, phytonutrients, and hydration when it is reheated, all three of which are particularly important for elderly people. Age-related immune system deterioration makes the body more susceptible to joint stiffness, respiratory infections, and inflammation. However, a well-reheated vegetable soup serves as a calming defense, particularly if it is enhanced with parsley, turmeric, or garlic. While the anti-inflammatory substances start their subtle process of soothing the body from the inside out, the warmth promotes circulation, gradually opening blood vessels and relieving chilly extremities. Soup is an approachable, readily digested meal that doesn't overpower the senses for people who have trouble eating, a common problem among older folks. Particularly on days when eating seems like a bother, its mild consistency and warmth provide nourishment without requiring effort, supporting the maintenance of strength, hydration, and nutritional intake. Consideration must also be given to emotional sustenance. Carefully prepared and purposefully reheated, a pot of soup evokes memories of earlier kitchens, family get-togethers, and simpler days when food was more than just fuel. Every spoonful represents a return to something comfortable and familiar, a moment away from the hectic world to take care of oneself in the most basic manner. Additionally, soup provides a means to incorporate medicinal herbs and vegetables rich in minerals without using harsh spices or heavy fats, which is beneficial for anyone with high blood pressure, arthritis, or poor digestion. It is a kind of food that is kind, warm, and forgiving, and it adapts to the body's changing demands. However, what if we told you that, when properly warmed, the common grain next to your soup dish may be subtly fortifying your bones and bolstering your heart? When properly warmed, the following food, which far too many seniors ignore, may prove to be your strongest ally in the battle against weakness. 3. Brown rice is a low-key basis for lifespan, heart health, and strength. Simple meals, calm, grounding, and unyielding all have a certain wisdom to them. Among these, brown rice is humble and frequently overlooked in favor of more vibrant dishes. However, when gently reheated, this humble grain can provide seniors with something much more significant than flavor. Every step, every heartbeat, and every independent moment is supported by its slow-burning strength, stability, and structure. The bran and germ layers, which are natural sources of fiber, B vitamins, magnesium, and selenium, nutrients that the aging body desperately needs, are retained in brown rice, in contrast to white rice. Like oatmeal, brown rice develops resistant starch when it is cooked and then chilled. The beauty, however, is in what follows. Properly reheating food, either by steaming it gently or warming it with a little water, makes these complex carbs easy to digest and releases energy gradually without taxing the pancreas or raising blood sugar levels. This is a significant detail for elderly people who are managing heart disease, type 2 diabetes, or slow digestion. Brown rice that has been reheated helps sustain consistent energy levels throughout the day, avoiding the slumps and exhaustion that so frequently rob everyday activities of their delight. Additionally, it helps the gut microbiota by nourishing good bacteria that control inflammation, mood, and immunity. Magnesium, which is plentiful in brown rice and frequently reduced in older persons, is essential for nerve function, blood pressure regulation, and muscle relaxation. It is particularly important at night when restlessness and leg cramps can disrupt sleep. Reheated rice becomes more than just a meal with each warm serving. It turns into a means of internally strengthening, calming, and stabilizing the aging body. Then there is the sentimental value of rice, its association with coziness, family gatherings, and the aroma of home. Convenience isn't the only reason to warm leftover rice. It's a return to a routine, a tiny gesture of kindness that lets the body know it's still being cared for, strong, and growing. The best part is that brown rice fits in the senior kitchen with ease. For a nutrient-dense, easily digestible, and incredibly fulfilling dinner, combine it with lentils, soft vegetables, or a splash of olive oil. It turns into a dependable, adaptable mainstay for people who have trouble with complicated meal preparation, serving as a literal and metaphorical basis for good aging. While brown rice gradually increases our energy levels, not all reheated foods have the same effect. In actuality, certain cherished foods may reveal the very organs they previously soothed when reheated. What if the dish you microwave next time is subtly harming your nerves, heart, and possibly memory? What you're about to learn could permanently alter your perspective on leftovers. Seniors should never reheat these 3 foods. 1. Cooked mushrooms. The hidden threat under the surface. Mushrooms are a healthy and earthy food that ties us to the land, to the natural world, to something ancient and rooted. Because they are low in fat, high in antioxidants, and easy on the stomach when prepared fresh, mushrooms seem like a healthy option to many seniors. However, there is a little-known reality concealed beneath their velvety texture. A healthy dinner can be subtly ruined by reheating cooked mushrooms, especially as the body grows more delicate with age. The complex proteins and amino acids found in mushrooms are advantageous when they are fresh, but also sensitive and susceptible to change when heated. These proteins alter structurally during the initial cooking of mushrooms, which facilitates digestion. However, the same proteins may undergo a second denatured state when refrigerated and then reheated, changing into substances that the body may no longer be able to properly handle. A younger person might not notice this. However, it can cause discomfort, bloating, and even nausea in older adults whose gut sensitivity is higher and their digestive enzymes are lower. What we frequently don't feel right away is the true threat. Bacteria like Clostridium botulinum or Listeria can silently grow in mushrooms that have been sautéed in butter or oil and then left at room temperature for an extended period of time if they are improperly stored or reheated at low temperatures. The damage caused by these bacteria might start quietly, upsetting the digestive tract or even hurting the nervous system in susceptible elderly people. They don't usually show up with obvious symptoms immediately away. You might not experience discomfort or disease right away as a result of this seemingly insignificant error. However, it accumulates. It could manifest as persistent exhaustion, persistent indigestion, or an afternoon that is filled with discomfort rather than tranquility. At a moment in life when every ounce of power counts, it could even manifest as a compromised immunological response. Furthermore, when mushrooms are heated, a large portion of their nutritious content is lost. Your immune system's once supporting antioxidants deteriorate, providing little protection against oxidative stress and inflammation, which inevitably rise with age. The food you're left with tastes familiar, but it no longer meets your needs. It may seem like a harmless practice to reheat mushrooms, especially in a society that extols convenience. However, it's a habit worth quitting for seniors who are dedicated to preserving their mobility, memory, and health. Instead of becoming a leftover that sits on the burner or in the microwave for too long, let mushrooms be a gift that is savored when they are at their best. But what about another popular favorite in the kitchen? Something vivid, crisp, and often regarded as innocuous. What if a seemingly innocuous vegetable were causing quiet joint inflammation and impairing the stability of your steps? You might be surprised by the response. Please let me know in the first remark below if you're still watching and finding these insights useful. Let's now discuss point number 2. 2 eggs. The subtle transition from food to damage. Many people believe that eggs are among the healthiest and most complete foods available. They stand for simplicity, harmony, and sustenance, a well-known breakfast table mainstay from earlier generations. Eggs provide seniors with high-quality protein and crucial minerals like vitamin D and choline, which are critical for strong bones and a healthy brain. However, there is a little-known fact here. Eggs undergo a negative change in nature when they are reheated. Eggs are safe, easily digested, and incredibly nourishing when prepared for the first time. However, their proteins start to alter in ways that aren't necessarily beneficial to the aging digestive system once they cool and are stored, even for just one night. The proteins in cooked eggs solidify and reorganize when they are reheated, particularly in a microwave or high-heat skillet. This makes them more difficult to digest and increases the likelihood that older persons will have indigestion, pain, or bloating. The development of potentially dangerous chemicals is more worrisome. Reheating eggs, particularly those that have been fried or scrambled with oils, can cause the lipids and cholesterol to oxidize, producing compounds that aggravate artery damage and inflammation. These threats are not merely hypothetical. These are biological facts, especially for elderly people who are already dealing with heart disease, high blood pressure, or excessive cholesterol. You may not always pay the price right away. This could be a groggy stomach that lingers throughout the day, a sluggishness that makes you move more slowly, or a fog that makes it difficult to think clearly. The load accumulates over time. Rising cholesterol, low-grade inflammation, and a compromised digestive system are all silent consequences of the well-intentioned habit of reheating eggs from the previous day. It's a minor, seemingly innocuous deed. But warming eggs is a needless strain for a body that has earned its right to softness. Once meant to strengthen your muscles and safeguard your brain, the nutrients might instead work against you if they are treated carelessly after cooking. Eggs can be enjoyed in safer ways. Consume them while they're still fresh, well prepared. When consumed immediately after being boiled or poached, they provide amazing health advantages. But fight the impulse to put them off. Meal by meal, what appears to be convenience might subtly erode your vitality. However, there are other comfort foods with unintended consequences besides eggs. Another item, which is arguably the most popular in American households, is even riskier to reheat. It might feel like an old hug, soft, warm, and familiar. However, beneath its golden exterior is a metabolic trap that can impair mental clarity, slow the heart, and weaken your legs. Before you take another bite, you'll want to know the truth. 3. White potatoes. The comfort that silently betrays. White potatoes bring back fond memories for many senior citizens. Holiday feasts, weekend get-togethers, and family dinners when mashed potatoes were lovingly served. They are cozy, well-known, and intricately entwined with American culture. However, reheating white potatoes can turn a favorite comfort food into a silent danger for elderly people, particularly those who are trying to safeguard their heart, circulation, and balance. Freshly cooked white potatoes already have a high glycemic index. This indicates that they rapidly convert to sugars, resulting in abrupt increases in blood sugar levels. However, their starch structure alters when they are cooked, cooled, and then reheated, particularly in butter, oil, or cream. This change can worsen insulin resistance and cause inflammatory reactions that impact the blood vessels, nerves, and even the brain, instead of helping the body. Seniors are particularly at risk since aging naturally lessens the body's sensitivity to changes in blood sugar. In addition to contributing to chronic inflammation, which has been connected to everything from joint stiffness to cognitive loss, reheated potatoes can result in post-meal weariness and tingling in the legs and feet. Unaware that high heat can release dangerous chemicals like bisphenol A into the food, substances known to disrupt hormone balance and heart health, many seniors also reheat potato-based recipes in plastic containers. The outcome? It's possible that an otherwise harmless plate of leftovers is causing much more harm than good. You pay a small but significant price. After lunch, you can feel even more exhausted, not realizing that the reheated potatoes were the reason for your energy slump. Without recognizing the real cause on your plate, you may experience increased tingling in your feet or stiffness in your knees and attribute it to aging. These little everyday moments add up over time. Reduced muscle control, increased blood pressure, poor circulation, and a delayed recovery from disease or trauma. Even more depressing is the fact that white potatoes provide very little defense. They don't have the antioxidants that could counteract their effects, unlike sweet potatoes or other vibrant root vegetables. Yes, they satisfy the stomach, but they don't strengthen the body. They appease the tongue while subtly taxing the system that the elderly must defend. Tradition and warmth are lovely things, but as we get older, we need to learn to distinguish between dietary safety and emotional comfort. Make an informed decision. Allow potatoes to play a role in your history rather than your current recovery. The bigger reality that not everything in the refrigerator deserves a second chance now becomes apparent as we consider these subtle threats concealed in our leftovers. So, how can seniors make better eating choices to regain their meals, energy, and independence? The solution starts with tiny, loving movements toward awareness rather than fear. Each meal is a decision. One mouthful at a time, respect your health. The decisions we make at the dinner table become increasingly important as we get older. Reheating food may seem like a simple, daily task, but for seniors, it can subtly influence our independence, vitality, and health. Understanding which meals should not be reheated and which, when properly warmed, can promote your health goes beyond simple dietary guidance. It's a way to honor oneself. In actuality, significant, drastic changes are not necessary for aging healthily. It stems from little, regular choices, such as how we treat our leftovers, how we respect our digestive system, and how we safeguard the health of our heart, brain, and legs with each meal. Reheating nutritious foods, such as brown rice, warm porridge, or hearty soups, does more than simply satisfy your hunger. It communicates to your body that you still care and value life. Additionally, you become closer to freedom when you give up bad habits like reheating white potatoes, eggs, or mushrooms. Freedom from weariness, discomfort, and preventable health problems that all too frequently rob later years of their delight. Convenience might come at a slight but long-lasting cost. However, awareness comes with an even bigger benefit. Stronger steps, improved digestion, improved mental clarity, and, perhaps most importantly, a feeling of control over your own health, regardless of age. Therefore, keep in mind that not everything on your plate merits a second chance when you open your refrigerator tomorrow. Pick the things that will nourish you, intentionally reheat, and celebrate this phase of life with the silent power that comes from knowledge rather than whims. Because, at the end of the day, each warm meal is more than simply a comfort food. It's a decision to safeguard your future, one bite at a time.